So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Welcome. We are back to D. Here it comes. We're back to recap the penultimate episode of Succession, like ever, because the finale is next Sunday. But yeah, this is episode 9, Church and State. Before we get into that, D, how's it going?
I'm recovering, I think. I'm making it. I'm good. How are you?
I can't believe the ride is over. It seems like just yesterday where I watched the first episode and I was like, this show is shit. I'm never watching it again. But here we are, many years later. And yeah, we're almost at the end of the road.
What is this weird shoddy camera ass bullshit they got me watching? I can't believe they said this is terrible. What is this? How wrong we were. Well, actually, technically, we weren't wrong about the camera. I think we may have been wrong about the content eventually, but yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
it was a little rough. It's a little rough. Well, was it all you thought it would be for it to be the infamous penultimate episode? We, by the way, just in case anybody hasn't been here or you're new here, we often say that the penultimate episodes are usually the best. A lot of times they're the best.
A lot of times they are the best. Yeah.
A lot of times they're the best. So we really, and we always, me and me make fun of the fact that Ronnie loves the word penultimate. So with that being said, does this live up to the hype?
So I will say this. This is just a personal preference thing. It has nothing to do with the episode itself. But Succession loses me when they try to, and this is going to be weird because they are human, but Succession loses me when they try to make the children, the siblings, human. Because they're deplorable people. So Succession does this thing where it's like, oh, but they're just like you and I underneath all of this. And like, nah. But I will say what this episode did is, in the traditional model, like the next to last episode sets up something and it puts a lot of effort into that next to last episode, but it doesn't know how to finish that final episode. But what this did, it kind of like hit a nice plateau and it set up some things to where like there are like 3 different paths that the final episode could take, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm not saying like it's a bad episode, but it like did what it needed to do essentially, if that makes sense.
It does. I've mentioned this before. As far as them being human, I agree. It's weird too. I'm sorry, I'm just in my clothes, but it's weird too because I was saying it always surprises me when any of the siblings say thank you, because they're such horrible people, and the fact that they even know how to say thank you is surprising. And I think mostly because it's usually for like someone who is serving them. That's when I'm always shocked. Like if someone gives them a glass of champagne, or if somebody hands them their coat or takes their jacket, or gives them a plate of food, that type of stuff, they always say thank you. And it blows my mind every time because I'm like, oh, y'all are polite, which is weird because it's consistent. They consistently do it. It's not like, they do it consistently. And I think what it is it kind of comes from when they were saying I think Ken said it in his speech, it had to be Ken, where he could go from the highest of the highs as far as rooms go and the lowest of the lows and be comfortable. And I think because of that, even though he was a horrible man, Logan instilled in them that hard work is admirable work, is I think so that they're very mean to other rich people. I think like they're awful to them, but the people who actually like are grinding or getting out the mud, they're polite to them, because I think Logan resonates even more with them than he does with the people he's with now. or
Yeah,
was with.
I was going to say that, and true enough, like I'm trying to span through like basically 48 episodes in my head right now. But yeah, I don't think like Logan ever shitted on someone in service. He shits on the people he hires to do the work, which is why I told you earlier offline. I was like, not only is it surprising um, them saying thank you, but who they say thank you to, because if it's like Frank or Carl, they don't get a thank you. It's just like either do this or like fuck off. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the only person I think I can remember him being angry with as far as his service was the man. Remember when they went to the house and the smell was bad?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
he figured out the dude put the animal, the carcass or whatever in there.
yeah.
But that's the only time I've seen him be angry, but rightfully so. Like I get it, you
Rightfully
gotta be
so. I
pissed.
would be angry
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
gotta be pissed.
yeah, I would be
But
angry.
yeah, the people he should be thankful to, he's very rude to them. Family, co-workers. Does he have friends?
His driver, yeah,
Him. Okay.
yeah,
It
Colin,
seems like that may have been the only person he was genuinely nice to.
yeah,
But that goes back to him providing him a service, though. He's doing something for him. So, yeah. But anyway, go ahead and jump on in, I reckon.
yeah. So this episode, of course, is the funeral, and it's a quote on Cedric the Entertainer. Instead of this is a cold ass wedding, this is a cold ass funeral.
Cold ass funeral.
It's a cold ass funeral.
It's a cold ass funeral.
Um, so going back to like 2 episodes ago, we thought that Roman was going to be the one to do the eulogy, like his big eulogy. Like we had we had like the preview of him like basically, you know, looking in the mirror like Green Goblin, being like all evil and stuff. And we get a eulogy of sorts, but not the one we expect. And before we get there, let's start with I think it's important to like set the stage with like Kendall, because of course Rava called him again. But she was like, "Hey, we're not going to the funeral. We're actually going upstate." Um, how do you feel about the insertion of like Rava and kind of like using her to kind of like see where Kendall's moral compass is?
I couldn't imagine a better way to do it. Because it shows you, I guess, two sides of the same coin when it comes to parenting, right? Because both of them love and care for obviously this one child they have now, because who knows? I guess their son's he's had a concussion since he got hit in the head. I don't know. Like you said before, he's missing. But since their daughter, like the even small inkling of danger for their daughter, Robert was like, "We are getting the hell out of here." Like there's not even a chance that I'm willing to take that something could happen to her. On the other hand, Kendall's just so wrapped up in himself, or I can't figure out if he's just wrapped up in his own shit or if he just thinks he's that invincible that they can't be touched. I can't figure out which one it is. But I like the fact that she's like, "Hey, I really don't care. Your money can't fix this. Your influence can't fix this. As a matter of fact, these are the things that are putting her in danger. So we're leaving." That's
Mhm.
the end of it. And him like jumping in, trying to be super dad and talking about he wants custody and all that. I'm like, just stop. 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 Because
Yeah,
what are you gonna do? And the answer is nothing. He's not gonna do anything because he'd be a terrible parent. Sole custody of his shit, or I guess mostly physical custody of his child. Nah, those children be miserable.
yeah, because they went out their way. I think it was last week's episode to say, and by the way, I didn't just plug the title of this podcast, although I, pay us to do that. But on last week's episode, when Robert's like, "Yeah, you haven't called her in like months," so they make sure to like tell you that he's not even attempting to be an active father right now. Yeah, like not even in the least.
But I want man. All right, okay, all right.
Get out of
You
here.
want physical custody? Okay, sure you do. Okay,
So
he's
so
just okay. Go ahead.
so yeah, that then leads to Jess, which if there's something that I did see coming, it was definitely this, and I was actually wondering what would take so long. But Kendall was like, call every family attorney. We're going to take this to court. I want full custody. And he was like, wait, what's this like? What's this meeting on my calendar for next Tuesday? And she was trying her best to like defer and like punt the ball, but he was like, no, let's talk about this. And she was like, yeah, obviously, I feel like it's time. And that conversation really doesn't like matter as much to me as like when he turns around and he was like, thanks for telling me. And then like you see her like for the first time ever, like truly like show her like real face. And she's just like over him because once again, I think that each of them are starting like to like lose their powers. And of course, like this is due to Megan, but this is also due to him just being like over the past few weeks, like, dude, like, what are you even doing now? So, like, she finally like reveals her real face, and she's like, yeah, it's a wrap. So, were you expecting Jess to submit her resignation?
I wasn't expecting it. When he asked, "What's this meeting?" I knew exactly what it was, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else could it
Mm-hmm.
have been? I said, I figured it was either her saying, "I want more, another position. I want more money. I want something." It was either going to be a negotiation or her just saying,
Yeah.
"I'm out." Like, I'm out. And then her not the more she tried not to talk about it, I immediately knew that's what it was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because if it's hey, I'm just, it's just trying to say, where I am in the company. I think we should just talk about where I'm gonna go within the organization or something like that. That's fine. But her not wanting to talk about it at all, oh yeah, I knew exactly what that was. And I don't blame her because he's a
Eh,
terrible boss.
yeah, I was about to say, and for the record, like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think she's an employee of like Waystar Royco. I think she's just his personal assistant. So this decision is like 99.9999 due to like just Kendall's recent actions.
It's definitely is because he knows it because he asked her. And that's how I know that's what it is. Because when he immediately said, "Well, is it Mankin?" and she didn't say anything, I'm like,
Of
of
course.
course it is. All of it
Mhm.
is because you just pretty much like he's a Nazi, right? Well, he's not a technical Nazi, but like as far as descriptions go, he's pretty much a Nazi, right?
Yeah, he says,
Modern day.
yeah, to quote him from last season, if I like it, I'll borrow from anybody from Gandhi to H, who H stands for. So yeah,
Everybody
he's
knows
a
who that
Nazi.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just anarchy in the worst way,
Hmm.
not in the tear the system down, but more like whatever I want to do is what's important, and whatever I say matters, and whatever ideology I have or thoughts or whatever, what I say goes. And that is a very dangerous person to have as the leader of the free world.
Yeah, yeah. Too bad. I mean, I was about to say, yeah, I'm not even gonna make that joke because
Mm-mm.
this is
Mm-mm.
very much real life. But
Yep. We've seen it.
yeah, let's get to the funeral itself now. So Tom isn't able to make it. So Greg,
Why not?
um, because just tons of things. I mean, the man hasn't slept in like 72 hours, and
He's so tired, man.
yeah.
He's exhausted. Like, I think that guy, it didn't get lost because they did make a point to tell us, but like, I don't think I really wrapped my mind around how freaking tired he is. Really very
Hmm.
exhausted. Like, the man hasn't
Hmm.
had any sleep
Hmm.
in days, weeks, maybe even. How long has it been
Hmm.
since Logan died? I mean, because when certain people die, they have to get buried fairly quickly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is all within like from
Uh,
death till now. It's been like what, 3 days,
hmm.
4 days, something like that. So he's probably been awake for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 4 days. Okay. But yeah, you're
Yes.
saying I'm sorry. Tom is busy. He could not make it to the
Hmm.
ceremony.
Yeah, and cousin Greg, says that Tom gave him his place to, walk in the casket. And I don't think that's an insignificant detail, but I'm gonna hold on to that later.
Okay.
But yeah, the funeral, as you can imagine, is a mess because Logan's whole team there is there, and I'm not talking about his Waystar Royco team. So we get Marsha again. We get uh, damn, what's her name? The Bang.
The Bayang, Carrie.
Carrie, yeah. Then his
Caroline.
ex-wife, yeah, Caroline, and her Carrie. And
Yeah,
they're all
I don't know
just
her name. Yeah, but
yeah, they're all just happy family, just sitting on the front row together.
make all of my pictures tattooed by Logo on their titty. That's all I could think of.
Yeah.
Thing. Because I mean, first, okay, the first thing I thought was, okay, Caroline ain't shit. Like for this is a lot. And Marsha made it clear she didn't even want Carrie in the house. But Caroline's like, oh, no. We're putting our little aside today. You come on up here and sit amongst the ranks of the wives and concubines of the Logan Roy. But Marsha handled it differently than I thought. Did you think she was going to put up a fight? I thought she was going to say something.
Look, that check has cleared now. Marsha could not care less. Like she was just like, I got my money. I don't care.
She's been over it for a while. I think the thing that ticked her off about Carrie was the fact that she told her not to come and she came anyway. Mm-hmm. Like she didn't know her place. I guess that's really the big part of it. Like, hey, Carrie, you see Caroline's Carrie stayed where she was until she was summoned. And that's what Carrie should have done. And then she brought a lawyer. Like, what's your lawyer gonna do? If Marsha say you can't come in, what are we gonna do?
What is your lawyer going to do against one of the most powerful corporations on earth? Okay, go like is she going to draft up something right now, like in the church?
She has the right to be here. Do you though? Yeah. Like, do you? I don't know. Yeah, but I think what's weird though, the relationship with Caroline's husband, like he's like a Logan groupie, and it's so weird.
He is, yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be one of his pallbearers? I don't know.
So if you I want to say he's like the mattress guy, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, he has some weird business. If you don't remember, Logan slid him, some money so Caroline could like sign off on her shares and screw up the kids. So yeah, he's a Logan groupie for life. Like he probably had like a Logan t-shirt under his suit.
The kids do not like him at all.
I get it.
Shiv can't stand him. Like it was very clear, and she didn't try to hide it, which was actually refreshing because I hate when they're fake. Just be like, at least just be honest with. He doesn't care either way. Like he obviously doesn't care if y'all like him or not. Like you said,
once again, the check cleared.
I will wear my Logan Roy Forever shirt if I need to, but whatever.
The check has cleared. He does not care. But do we want to start with Ewan's eulogy? Yeah, I feel like because I will say this. As far as so I had in my mind what he was going to say, and it was like a lot more tame than I thought. But then again, going back to like the making people human things, like once again, like people are very complex, and even though he thinks his brother was like the literal devil, he still recognizes like, hey, this is my brother, and he was who he was essentially. So yeah, what do you think?
It was kind of like, yes, my brother's the devil, and this is why, versus like making excuses for it. Right. Because he very clearly was like, hey, he's a terrible person. He did terrible things. This is what led him on the path to those things. But I think the good part is he underscored the fact that he was also there. Right? Like our sister passed and this happened. Now, as far as the whole polio thing, that's messed up. And I think if nothing else, he will always have the compassion for his brother because one, he's his brother, and two, because of that, because that has to be very heavy to think that you're the reason your sister passed and nobody is telling you otherwise, right?
Mhm.
Because he had to be a child. I mean, of maybe he wasn't like a baby, but he was young enough to believe that he made a sister sick. So there's that. But I like the fact that he still put it like, hey, yes, these bad things happen to this man. He had a chance to spread joy through the world and he chose not to. Like he made a
Mhm.
choice. These are decisions he made because he's a bad person. Like that's just what it is. He's a bad person. And yeah, rest in peace. Or piss. Whichever one,
Rest are pissed.
Rest in something. But you're dead now, so cool. And I I'm wondering because I offline I sent running a text and I'm like, there's no way this would happen at a black funeral because somebody would have been up there
Oh no, 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 no,
and
no,
it
no,
would have been a mess. Like decorum, whatever, all that be damned. You cannot
no.
get up there and speak ill of the dead. Like we are really serious about not speaking ill of the dead. I'm not one of those people. I do feel like you
Neither
should
am
call a
I.
spade a spade. I will say it's a lot at the funeral. Like these are because it's not about that person, right? When you're at a funeral, it's about the people who are grieving. So it's a bit much to lay that on them because this is their time to process and remember the person, whatever else. I'm all for calling a spade, but it was a lot. It was. It could have been worse though. So I guess all in all, he kind of sprinkled sugar on poop, kinda.
Yeah, he did the compliment sandwich. He,
Yeah.
started off good, then he was like, but by the way, fuck this nigga. And then he
Don't
was
forget,
like, yeah, don't forget. And then he went back to, saying like, he's my
he's a
brother and such.
complicated man.
Yeah. So so do you one very, very important lesson if you want to take away from this. Make sure you schedule your grief because if not,
You will have a down wave in the middle, not even the middle
oh,
of your eulogy, the dead beginning start
yeah,
of what was supposed to be your eulogy. Okay, I didn't see it coming. I will say that.
neither did I. No.
I thought it was gonna be a really what he did. Or I thought this is what it was gonna be. I thought he was gonna especially after Ewan's speech, I thought he was gonna like if anything, flip out and get angry and,
Mm.
say my dad was worth this and, more than all of you people put together, or something braggadocious or something like that. I didn't know that he was going to have a very real, my father is dead moment. And as far as the human thing goes, you're right about it because it feels weird. But I think they did a good job when it comes to
Yeah.
Roman because he has always been the one that's like, almost like he's my daddy, sort of, kind of like
Yeah.
Shiv is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
daddy's little girl, but Roman's like he's my daddy. I love him. He's my daddy. I love him, even when trying not to or trying to pretend that he
Mm.
doesn't. Because in some ways he's the baby. Of course, Shiv's the youngest. We get that, but since she's a girl, it almost like takes her into a whole separate category almost.
Yeah. Like he's the one, probably because of abuse and other things. He's the one that
Yeah,
like legit like love like Logan. Like even Shiv like kind of uses him as like a prop. Like whenever she didn't want to deal with something these past few episodes, my dad just died. Like you don't give a shit. You are trying to
you don't care.
screw over your brothers.
You couldn't
But
care less.
but he's the one who's like, and that love probably like did stem from fear. But yeah, he's the one who like legit loved like Logan.
100%. I think the moment he had with Lucas when he went off on Lucas about, you
Mm-hmm.
didn't give us a day, it kind of set the tone to show you that
Mm-hmm.
Roman was not dealing.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't doing a good job. He wasn't handling it well. But him breaking down was still surprising to me because I thought, like I said, I thought he was just going to explode and just start cursing or, telling people off and, Mankin would be fine. But I thought he would say something to Lucas again, say something to you and just kind of go off. But the fact that he just had an emotional breakdown and the man said, can we get him out? I'm like, this is a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And I think too, it of course, everybody knows grief doesn't let you decide. It comes when it wants to, and it comes in waves, and it just like you can have the best day, and then it'll hit you, or something small, a smell or commercial, whatever, will make it come to what it is. And the fact that Roman has not processed it at all, and then I think the finality of it, is that a word? Finality
Yeah.
of it was right there, literally in front of him. I just think he just couldn't deal
Yeah,
and just freaked him out.
I did not expect him to turn into like Ray J at Auntie Nippet funeral.
Oh,
Yeah, grabbing for the casket. Sorry, I have a lot of funeral. Hey, look, funerals hold a very special place in our community. So I just had to toss out some funeral references today.
I mean, it was very much a take me with you moment. It was like if the
Yeah,
casket were open, Rome may have tried to jump
he
in.
would have jumped in there. Who
Like
would
he
have
may
jumped in
have really taken that leap, but he couldn't because it was all covered and it was, time to go. We'll get on that mausoleum later. You know what? Is that how you pronounce it?
there?
Mausoleum? Yeah, because that was a lot.
So yeah,
I would think he Dracula. Go ahead.
so yeah, Kendall had to step in and deliver the eulogy. And he did his Kendall thing. Like this is the moment where like
Oh,
Kendall
my dad
Kendall
is my dad.
yeah
I hope it's in me. It's
he was the daddiest dad.
Daddy Dadfield.
He was such a dad.
Such a dad. Hell, I hope I'm a dad. Hope
but
I've got all that dad in me. Dad. All the dads.
but yeah, this made me really like think about something like outside of the funeral because I
Okay.
think I said it like I think I said it in like the Living Plus recap where like business is like mostly like bullshit. Like
Hmm.
it's all about what you do like when the people are in front of you. Like what happens and by the way, this is why I say I can never work for another like visionary manager again because like public facing, like they talk a good game, but behind the scenes where it's like time to run like the nuts and bolts shit, they don't know what the hell they're doing. But if you were watching this in combination with like the Living Plus thing, like you would leave this thinking like, okay, like Kendall is now heir apparent.
Hmm.
Like there would be no question that like he's like primed to like take over.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I said, like watching that speech, I was like, and then you see like you see the shift from Megan's face going from like what the hell is this to like oh he's the one. Like you see that shift in real time.
We discussed this just a little bit, but like, do you know how crazy that is though? Like Rome is being in a way demoted in the eyes of the powers that be, from top dog to weeping mess pile of mush, because he was upset that his father died. You should have the right to be upset that your father died. You should have the right to have a breakdown in the church because you realize that not only has your father
Mhm,
died, but that's it. Like there is no coming back. There is no getting him out of there.
mhm.
But because Roman is who he is, his fault, by the way. I don't want y'all to think that I'm like saying that he didn't bring this on himself, but he has become a joke because he's sad about his dad. Like, can you imagine somebody taking a video of the lowest moment of you and put it on YouTube? And instead of people saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss," they laugh.
Yeah,
Like
like
you're a
when
joke now. You're the
yeah, like
biggest
when
joke.
the Eagles lost against the Chiefs in the Super. But no, seriously. I was gonna say it's because like Megan is like the embodiment of like that right wing,
It's the
alpha
worst.
male culture. Like you don't show emotions, so like I think he thought that Roman was cut from the same cloth that he can't
Yeah.
even like realize like this man is like of course watching his dad being carried away in a box, and no matter how I feel about either, I like any of these people, like that's the fact, like their father's being carried away right now.
Still your dad. Where is his
Right.
beard, by the way? Where is she?
Who's
I saw
that?
her. She was like the first Roman's beard. She was like the first episode,
Hmm.
and then like
Oh yeah, they
she
like
gave
wrote
them
her.
a number to what was her name? Um Sophie. What's her name? Sophie? It
Yeah,
wasn't
so
Sophie.
there was actually like a
What's her
Kieran
name?
Culkin did an interview, and they basically wrote her out of, like, I won't say they wrote her out of the show, but they just kind of like never mentioned her again, because as they were like fleshing out Roman's character, they wanted his sexuality to be like more up in the air. So they
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like, so because at first, like, we see the woman and then we see like two kids, and you're led to believe that Roman has kids too, but then they like never mention them again.
I thought it was meant to be like that though.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought. What's the girl's name? The Pierce girl.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The one Ken was dating. Whatever. But yeah, didn't she gave Rome her number
Mhm.
because he was like, how do you know her? He was like, oh man, you fucked her. And I was like, it's like, who haven't you fucked? She's like, you. So I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty clear
yeah,
that Roman is either
yeah.
very confused about his sexuality or he's very sure about it and just didn't telling us, or that he wanted Jerry. Like I don't know. But anyway, I just thought about her randomly because she wasn't there
He
and she hasn't been around at all.
he a freak ass boy. That's what he
That's what
is.
it is. That's exactly what he is. But yeah, so Ken's speech, was that off the cuff?
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, I didn't know. I was like, maybe
yeah.
he
I mean,
secretly had a,
I
side speech
can.
planned.
I mean, I will say like he's very good, which is weird because the way that Jeremy Strong approaches the character, like when he's just having regular conversation, he's so sure of himself. He has like breaks in his speech, but when he's giving a speech, he's like very eloquent and like very like articulate, which is such a weird, because I do the same thing, but when I'm making a speech, I don't have the ability to like take those pauses out. But yeah, he's very eloquent when he's giving a speech. Like he has a knack for that. So yeah, he was just pulling the words out the air.
I should have known that. You're right. Because I mean, he just did the Living Plus thing and it actually went well
Right.
outside of what the product is. His presentation was
Hmm.
gold. It was. Even when he had to speak about the tweet, he could have handled
Hmm.
it differently, but he still handled it. And
Hmm.
he's quick on his feet. He just, like you said, when he has time to think, it's too much.
Exactly.
It's too much, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. He's one of those people, you know how people always say I work better under pressure. He's legit like
Hmm.
that because he doesn't have time to get opinions of other people,
Hmm.
right? Like as far as Macon, even think about that. He was so confused about that whole thing because he asked, he thought about it. Then he had Robert tell him about what happened with their daughter. Then he had to go talk to Shiv about it. And I
Hmm.
think ultimately I still think he made the wrong decision. I think calling it is wrong just because, again, it's Macon. But like he said now, and I asked you about this last week, I didn't understand then what Rome was
Hmm.
trying to do because I'm like, Macon still has all the power. I don't understand what we're doing at all. And it's like now Ken finally has it now, and it's kind of too late. Or maybe
Hmm.
not. I mean, like you say, he likes him, so maybe it'll work well for him.
Yeah.
Because he absolutely likes him. While we're on him though, right quick, what do you think about this whole him and Matson thing that Shiv kind of?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because first of all, I want to bring up one thing about Matson and how so I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna liken this to like a thing that guys do where they're like courting a young lady, and 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 the young lady is like, oh, we should like, make this official, and the guy's like, I'm not
Yeah, we'll
ready
talk
to be in
about
a
it
relationship. The parentheses part is with
with
you.
you.
So when Shiv was, and by the way, this is Shiv's second time flat out asking Matson, like, "Hey, like, let me run the company, like, if this goes through." And he was like, "That's a good idea," but he
Flesh it out a little
never,
bit more.
yeah, he never commits to like having Shiv be that person. But also, I wanted to bring up something because, by the way, Alexander Skarsgård is like 6'5", and the
It's
guy
very
who
tall.
plays Jerry Macon is like 5'10". But so great acting in that scene, because the scene where like Matson and Megan are talking, because Matson looks small in that scene.
Hmm.
Like, did you feel that, like, where he's
Hmm.
like almost like, because we've never seen him,
Shrinking.
yeah, we never seen him like almost like plead for something, like
Hmm.
he had like a worrisome look on his face. So now we start to see like, oh, like maybe he might not be all we think he is. So yeah, the side deal, I think it's stupid, but yeah, what do you think about it?
I agree, and I wanna add to that too about the whole the height thing, because Matson to me has always seemed like a person who knew he was tall, knew he was good looking. He's a blonde white guy, and he's a
Mhm.
Viking. So these are these are things that are intimidating in itself, right? And, oh, and he's got
Mhm.
a lot of money. So he knows that about himself. These are things that he can use as strength, as like you were saying, more like one of those alpha type people. And knowing that Mencken is also that A type personality, there has to be a point where one person shrinks. So in this pissing contest, he's like, I can I can pretend to win, which I know in this particular thing, I don't have the juice. Like he didn't have it. Or I can just concede and make it look like in my mind I'm letting him win, when in actuality he was gonna do it anyway. Right. So because he knows that his stature is intimidating, he knows all these things, he literally was like his body was shrinking down to make himself appear smaller and I guess less intimidating so that he can kind of try to, like, I guess piggyback off Shiv. He's almost kind of hiding behind her, kind of, which is odd, but I guess it was kind of like a gauge, like let me see where what his temperature is and how he approaches this, with Shiv being the kind of mastermind with the side deal, trying to get it for herself, but giving him this information. And I think that's the other thing too. She's giving him all of this stuff. And again, he's never once said, it's you,
Mhm.
not one time. So she's just feeding him stuff. And you got Ebba over here feeding it to somebody else, which I forgot, by the way. I completely forgot she's kind of like a double agent because
Yeah,
she
yeah, she
is.
is.
I forgot all about it because when Hugo gave that information, I was like, oh crap, I forgot.
Mhm.
And Shiv, again, she's being sloppy. She's just kind of making these decisions, trying to make sure that she's in there. And she thinks for some reason that it's solid when he's giving her no indication whatsoever that it is.
All right.
So I don't know, man. I, I don't know what she's gonna do. But just to be clear, her her suggestion was that they have a US CEO, which would be
Mhm.
filled by Shiv Roy,
Mhm.
and that will make Macon more pliable, I guess.
Yeah. So, all right. So Matson, on top of being a European and really like, because that's the thing too. Like he was trying to like break through with Megan and see like what he cares about. So he knows there's no connection there. So in order to like preserve his deal, like they would plant a US CEO, which Megan can then like, just marionette, So, and obviously it would be someone that kind of had like a previous connection, and then Matson would like just still do his like European operations, but the US CEO would serve the interests of
Of
Megan.
Macon. Hmm.
Yeah,
The person, and by the way, I love the fact that he was like, but I thought you hated me. Like
yeah.
make her standing that shit because I was so in I was disappointed in her because the one time that I was semi proud of
Mhm.
her was when she was very much like, I don't like this dude. I don't want to have anything to do with him. These are real consequences. I know that we're supposed to be on the same team, but this is too much.
Mhm.
This is way beyond just for her to fold like a damn. I can't even say like a lawn chair. She folded like a damn. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like it really was with no nothing. Like it didn't even look like it hurt her to do it. Like she wasn't
because
sad about it.
by the way, for context, um, if I'm not mistaken, last week's episode was yesterday. So
Yeah.
you mean to tell me in a matter of hours,
Yes.
like you had this crisis of like the the erosion of our democracy and
Mhm.
yada yada yada, but today because it serves your interest.
I think it's one of those things where if it's going to happen, let me be on the winning side, which is spineless. Like that is what's the quote? If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. That's her.
Mhm.
100%. Like they only want, she just wants to be in charge of something. And I don't know why she didn't pick up on it when I did, but as soon as Matson said, I heard she's pregnant, I was like, oh, well, that's it for you, girl. Like the way he said it, even. Well, I heard she's, does that matter? And I'm like, if it mattered, you wouldn't have brought it up. Like if it didn't matter, if you thought she'd be okay with it, you wouldn't have brought it up at all. But it's a
Yeah,
very big concern for him. And how she went straight into, oh, I'm going to be an absent mother was sickening. Like it was
yeah,
100%
disgusting,
like
disgusting.
disgusting. Disgusting. You chose to have this child. You could have not had the baby. Like you
Yeah,
could have, you were adamant about not having it, which goes back to me saying it doesn't make sense to me that she's having this child
yeah.
at all. Even when she explained it to Tom about I wasn't sure I wanted it and then blah blah, it still didn't make sense. None of it.
The baby's there for just a little razzle dazzle. Just a little sprinkle a little baby in.
We didn't have to. We could have left the baby
Yeah,
out of it. We could have.
we could have.
Um, Connor, what's he doing? Like he's just kind of there, just
Like
as usual. Just
I'm not gonna lie, his so we forgot to mention this, but Cutter was about to give a eulogy and then Kendall was reading it, and he was like, if you read this, we're gonna have to get legal involved. Like, what the hell was what
what
the
was he
hell
about
was
to say?
what the
He's about to
hell
give
was he
another
about to
speech.
say?
He's gonna concede again, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kendall is. I mean, Connor is still very much in his mind some kind of presidential liaison, if nothing else.
Hmm.
Like he's something in his brain, but whatever. He folded too. All of them. Like Macon is just like the Lord over the Roy's right now, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Because I I want to say this too as we transition. Not like Logan is transitioning. I mean
Mm-mm.
transition to the next part of this discussion. But sorry, I told you I had a lot of funeral puns today. But
But
negotiate negotiating tactic, like maybe don't give up so much like right away. Because now you're sitting here looking stupid because when you talk about, if certain things are still in play, making us like, we'll see. Yeah, maybe.
we'll see after this sure thing. Now, the reason Ken went 100% with Rome was because Roman was like, it is a sure thing. It is going to happen. It is 100% going to happen. He is going to block the deal. That's what he said. Shiv was like, well, I mean, there are thoughts and prayers and actions, and maybe the thing could happen if it makes sense. And once upon a time, not in a far away place. And Kendall's like, what? Is it gonna happen or not? So Rome just
Mhm.
pretty much went in 100% believing that Macon was gonna do what he said.
Mhm.
And again, I'm like, well, what guarantee do you have? You have nothing. All you have is this
It's
man's
based on
word.
somebody's word. Yes.
Yeah. And who's going to be the most powerful man in the world who could at any time be like, I ain't say that.
Yeah.
That's all he had to do. There was nothing you could do about it. Macon at any point could have been like, oh, well, now I changed my mind. I think I like this deal. Let's do it. And now you've made him president. And for what? For what? To be
Hmm.
his do boy.
Hmm.
For nothing. I still don't understand. I don't know. At this point, it looks like Ken Mencken and Matson could have a bromance throuple and be happy together. I don't know. And Shiv and Roman just gonna be over to the side looking, and Connor will still be trying to get to whatever country he's trying to get to.
So let's get into like the end of the recap because I was sitting on something that I wanted to say. So um what if and by the way, this is like mostly me trying to like nudge the writers and saying like the things that you showed me over these past few seasons must have some significance. Like they must have some significance. Like what if like a lot of like one-off things are leading to something.
Mhm.
So what I was saying earlier, Matson did not commit to a US CEO. Who did he go out drinking with a few days ago? And the guy he hated is now a guy that he really likes.
He went out drinking with Greg, right?
hmm
Cousin, cousin Greg.
who was seen walking through the funeral, like at the front of the funeral, hand on the casket?
It was also Greg.
Who has been like present enough yet distanced enough to like make themselves known, but at the same time like not damage themselves or not cancel themselves out? Yes, D.
Greg.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that's what it's gonna be, but I will
Greenpeace,
say,
do something. Do
please, Greenpeace.
something.
But I will say, I don't see a scenario in which like any of the siblings, like heavy air quotes here, win. But I do feel like if there even is a Waystar Royco at the end of like next episode, I feel like it's going to be something so crazy where you're like, that makes sense. It was there all along.
I hope
But
so.
why? But wow.
I hope so. My thing with Greg though is I know he's not an idiot. Like I want to make that clear. He has done too many things to prove that he's not an idiot. But I also feel like he is an idiot.
He
Or
is.
or he's smart enough to just use that to let other people think he's an idiot.
Mhm.
Right? Like he is also freakishly tall.
Yeah.
Right? Like freakishly tall. He might be like 6'7" or something, right? He
Yeah.
might be 6'5", but
He's 6'7". Yeah.
he's very tall. So the fact that, like you say, he doesn't have to literally shrink his body, though he does,
Mhm.
but he intellectually dumbs himself down. And I know he
Yeah.
does it because it's too dumb
Mhm.
to just be dumb. Like
Mhm.
that, you have to know how to play dumb to do the stuff that he does.
Mhm.
You see, you know what I mean? It's like it's if you're really stupid, then you make stupid mistakes. Like you do things that are really stupid. He
Mhm.
does things that are stupid, but stupid enough to be like, oh, Greg, how you mucked it up. You shouldn't have done blah, 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 blah. But he doesn't do anything to destroy something beyond repair where he can't get back in there.
All
And
right.
that takes knowing what you're doing. So if he is somewhere in the mix, I would be surprised. I don't know if I'd like it, but he's a constant presence. So yeah,
I I won't like it, but I will say it tracks if it ends up happening
it's right.
because he kind of weaseled his way in there,
The whole
and
way.
and I will say instead of like doing the oh, I'm gonna put the knife into your back halfway thing that the siblings do, like when he like made alliances, like he went like all the way in like one direction.
Hmm.
So while like it will like it's almost like the DB Cooper Madman thing. So I want to say that it's ridiculous as I say this out loud, but if it were to happen, it would kind of like track and make sense because it's been there all along.
What happens to Tom?
So another thing with cousin Greg, he is so he like I say, he's close enough, yes, yet distance enough to where if he were So if he were to like have like this, I guess, inside track, everyone involved, being like Tom, Shiv, Kendall, and Roman, they there's also like enough there to where like he would have basically grounds like just cut them off as well.
And he
Because all of
could
them, yeah,
easily.
all of them have like, like played him in one way or another.
Very
So
bad.
so what
Disrespected
happens
him
is
to the highest level.
so yeah, what happens to Tom? I can see a situation where like I don't know, like I can see a situation where like maybe Tom is like maybe Tom is like I'm gonna choose me and I'm gonna stay at the company. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's but these are good problems. I don't know how it's
This is
going
a
to
good
end.
problem. I don't either.
Like
Because Stewie's back next week.
yeah.
So there's
Mhm.
that. Hugo's agreed to be the do boy, lapdog, woof
Stand,
woof.
stand up.
Stand up.
Like that was so I was like, man, come on.
It was disgusting. And he did it with a smile. I think that's the pride will be the death of a lot of people. But there has to be a point where your pride says, I won't do that. Like there has to be, right? And it doesn't seem like they have it.
Mhm.
Um, Carl and Frank are still there. Jerry's still there. So we can't forget them either, especially Jerry. And
Mhm.
I know she's kind of made that deal with Rome about how much money she wants and if things go differently, she's got it out for him. But does that even matter anymore? Because Rome's almost
Mhm.
like non-existent almost as far as these things go. Like his power
Yeah.
is shrunken. Like nobody's looking at him as anything because they're gonna say, are you gonna start crying? Are you gonna be a baby? Because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what they do.
Yeah, like
So
they were watching his video.
right, right.
Yeah.
So there's that intimidation, any intimidation he had, any intimidation tactics he would try to use are gone now because he's gonna look like a
Yeah.
crybaby, Napoleon complex having nepotism baby.
Yeah.
So that's gone.
So oh go ahead. Because I was about to say I do want to close with like what I think is like um
Mm-hmm.
the most likely outcome
Have no idea.
is like we complete the loop started by the show, and that um because think about it, like um Ewan is on the board of like Waystar Royco, but he like
Mm-hmm.
wants nothing to do with it. So Kendall, CEO, sole CEO, the siblings are on the board, but they have their power is minimal, and yeah, he just fulfills his destiny as the heir apparent to Logan Roy. I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
the most likely way the show is going to end.
I
And once
wouldn't be
again,
surprised at
like I
all.
said, like he's sitting in a chair, and then the siblings are at the table with him, and then there's Stewie, and then there's Sandy, and then that's the show.
So in the world where Kendall is who is the successor, where does that leave Greg?
I I I I don't know. I don't
And what
know.
about the old guard? Well, we know Hugo stays, and it seems like Frank is a Carl or Frank. I get them confused. I
Hmm.
don't know which one is which.
Frank.
Which one of them? Frank is the one that is the CFO, right? Or is that Carl?
Carl is the CFO, but Frank is the
Okay.
one where he was like, "Hey, if I do this, I'm gonna need you to back me." And then, not to mention, like he did, which might seem like a small detail, but Kendall did just flat out tell Colin, like, "Hey, you're working for me now."
Yeah, flat. I mean, that's just what it was. And Colin was like, okay, yeah, talk to
All
me,
right.
which is also messed up. That's why I'm like, Ken is like the devil now. You've
Mhm,
shamed this man about going to therapy. His friend died. Let him go to therapy.
mhm.
Like, let him go. That's what you need to do. But whatever. It is what it is. I'm at this point okay with anybody becoming CEO except I don't want it for Shiv and Roy and Roman can't handle it. Like that's just the truth. Roman can't handle it. Jerry could have got him there. She could have got him there.
I want hell to open up and just swallow this entire media conglomerate. Like no one deserves
That'd be
it.
great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. What? Why are they going to announce the president? Because it's going to be Jimenez, right?
I mean, yeah,
He's the president, right? It's not going to be.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what's his name? I forgot it already.
So I won't say it won't be him because based on
No. Well, it
how
could be.
our system here works, but like the president elect is Jimenez, yes, but we'll just have to see what happens with everything.
We'll see. All right. I can't believe we this is it, Ronnie. One more.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. What a ride.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll save like I guess my thoughts about the entire series for the finale, but ultimately, this turned out to be like a top tier, like all time show. Like I could say that with confidence now, and I was not expecting that at all.
I wasn't expecting to stick through the first season. I don't even know why. I think I only stuck through the first season because people told me to. But if it had been up to me, ain't no way. I would have abandoned it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you know the runtime for next week?
I don't, but they said it's going to be feature film length. So I anticipate like an hour and a half
of actual show. Because this one was an hour and 20 minutes, but that's including the post stuff.
Yeah, it was more like an hour and 15. So I expect this to be like an hour and a half.
Yeah. All right. Well, we shall see. Oh, do you think there's gonna be a time jump or no? It's just gonna be another day.
I don't know. I can see there being a time jump. Maybe like
I think it kind of has to be, right?
Yeah.
At least at least a few weeks because we want to get past the actual presidential election and numbers and all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah,
maybe not like a 5-year, but like at least a month at the least. Maybe we'll see. Y'all join us next week.
Yes,
because that'll be it for this one, of course. I mean, we're always here
for this one. Yeah.
Always doing something.
But yeah. Until next time.
Peace.